हेलो एवरीवन, मेरा नाम साकेत है एंड आई वेलकम यू ऑल टू द सेकंड एपिसोड ऑफ द डिज़ाइन पॉडकास्ट विद साकेत नाम्पेल। सबसे पहले तो मैं आपको बहुत बड़ा थैंक यू बोलना चाहता हूँ जो रिस्पांस आपने एपिसोड 1 के लिए दिया। इट्स वेरी मोटिवेटिंग, इट्स वेरी ओवरवेलमिंग। मैंने बिल्कुल नहीं सोचा था कि इतना अच्छा रिस्पांस मिलेगा। सो थैंक यू फॉर ऑल दैट। कई सारे लोगों ने मुझे फीडबैक्स दिए, मैसेजेस किए, बहुत सारे इम्प्रूवमेंट्स सजेस्ट किए। उनमें से एक इम्प्रूवमेंट ये भी था कि पॉडकास्ट थोड़ा सा लंबा हो गया है, तो उसको अगर आप थोड़ा सा स्ट्रक्चर्ड कर सकते हो तो इट विल बी बेटर। तो उस फीडबैक को मैंने पॉजिटिवली लिया है और पॉडकास्ट को मैंने काफ़ी क्रिस्प रखने की कोशिश की है। ऑल्सो टाइमलाइन को मैंने काफ़ी सारी कैटेगरीज में डिवाइड कर दिया है, तो अगर आपको किसी पर्टिकुलर कैटेगरी में इंटरेस्ट है तो आप वहाँ पे जंप करके उतना ही सेक्शन देख सकते हो। हैविंग सेड दैट, पॉडकास्ट की फॉर्मेट ही ऐसा है कि इट्स मोर अबाउट कैजुअल कॉन्वर्सेशन एंड लिसनिंग टू देयर स्टोरीज। तो ये थोड़ा सा लंबा हो जाता है, इसको बहुत ज़्यादा कट डाउन तो नहीं कर सकते हैं, बट मैंने अपनी पूरी कोशिश की है। सो लेट मी नो आपको ये पॉडकास्ट कैसे लगता है। टुडे आई एम वेरी एक्साइटेड क्योंकि आज के गेस्ट जो है वो बहुत ही स्पेशल है। ही इज़ एन अकम्प्लिश्ड मोटरसाइकिल डिज़ाइनर। इन्होंने इंडिया की वन ऑफ द आइकॉनिक रेस बाइक्स डिज़ाइन की है, TVS Apache RR310। ये अभी भी रोड्स पे रूल कर रही है। इनके स्केचिंग स्किल्स अमेजिंग है। ये एक बहुत ही कमिटेड और पैशनेट मोटरसाइकिल डिज़ाइनर है। ही इज़ माई कलीग, ही इज़ माई फ्रेंड, एन ऑसम ह्यूमन बीइंग। हिज नेम इज़ अरुणकुमार फ्रांसिस। वो अपनी पूरी डिज़ाइन जर्नी के बारे में बात करेंगे, कहाँ से उन्होंने स्केचिंग के साथ, मोटरसाइकिल्स के साथ अपना रिलेशनशिप डेवलप किया, उसके बाद में कैसे वो IISC बैंगलोर में जाके उन्होंने इंडस्ट्रियल डिज़ाइन की डिग्री ली, कैसे उन्होंने वहाँ पे अलग अलग लेवल्स उनकी डिज़ाइन एग्ज़ाम्स क्रैक की, वो सब हम लोग बात करेंगे। देन अपाचे RR310 की जो भी डिज़ाइन स्टोरी थी, जो भी फ़नी, एक्साइटिंग, इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरीज़ है, वो सब हमें बताएंगे। हम लोग काफ़ी कॉन्फिडेंशियल जोन में काम करते हैं, तो देयर आर सम थिंग्स विच वी कैन से एंड सम थिंग्स विच वी कांट। तो जो भी पब्लिक डोमेन में है, हम लोग उन्हीं चीज़ों के बारे में बात करने वाले हैं। सो वी आर वेरी केयरफुल अबाउट दैट। सो हैविंग said all of that, if you are interested in motorcycle, if you are an aspiring motorcycle designer, या तो आप इस इंडस्ट्री से, ऑटोमोबाइल डिज़ाइन इंडस्ट्री से बिलोंग करते हो, तो ये पॉडकास्ट आपके लिए है। आई एम प्रिटी श्योर आपके लिए कुछ ना कुछ एनलाइटनिंग स्टोरीज या इन्फॉर्मेशन इस पॉडकास्ट में आपको मिल जाएगी। सो विदाउट एनी फर्दर अडू, लेट्स स्टार्ट दिस पॉडकास्ट। Arun, welcome again. Yeah, so I'm very excited. I was just telling my audience how special this podcast is for me, because you are one of the people in the industry whom I look up to. I'm not joking, okay? Just because he's here, I'm not making this up, but yeah, he's one of those people. Okay, और सच में अरुण के skills जो है, अरुण का जो passion है, it's amazing. Let's start from the beginning. Like where exactly that passion or trigger for sketching and then sketching the motorcycles, वो सब कैसे start हुआ?
God, you're taking me to really prehistoric BC, like.
We have time, no problem.
Sure. So, like, I think it's a very cliche thing, but almost all designers have the same story, right?
Uh-huh.
They always, when they were children, they started sketching cars, bikes, mountains, and whatnot, and then
True.
they ended up here. I mean, as a thread or a line, I think it's kind of the same for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, but in my case, I think the touch point was like, I have 3 more brothers, and all of us are into comics.
Wow.
So from childhood, all I remember is drawing Batman, Superman, Spider-Man. It'll be like textbook accurate. There'll be exact number of muscles in the bicep.
You won't miss a muscle.
Exact
right?
number of boxes in his abs.
Oh.
Things like that. So drawing figures and particularly superheroes and monsters and scenario building, story building, storyboarding and all that thing. So that sort of thing was creating a character, giving him a backstory. So all those things were like my childhood days. I remember
Actually,
those things.
just to add one more thing, his passion for comics and character sketching, it clearly shows in his automobile design also. All his motorcycle design, mood boards, they have that essence. It will be like a comic board, and it's so entertaining for the viewers also to understand the story. Yeah. So,
by the way, watch Batman. No? It's really awesome.
oh yeah, the new one. I have to watch it actually.
Great.
Okay. Please continue. Sorry.
So from childhood, this comics thing is like been there. In fact, the first automobile stuff I've ever drawn is actually a Batmobile. The first time I saw it in the comics, right, I was like blown away. Like,
wow.
My God, this is something interesting. And the first motorcycle thing I would say is there used to be this G.I. Joe toys, and G.I. Joe, particularly there was this model called Ram motorcycle.
Ram.
Funnily named, it was called rapid firing motorcycle, but instead of RFM they called it Ram.
Okay.
Not even this thing. It had a Gatling gun, it had a lot of other interesting things. It was a cool looking bike. I used to sneak it in my bag and take it to school, this, that. I used to sketch it. So
it's like your companion.
It's my companion. It's a very, very cool looking motorcycle.
Okay.
And Fun School used to make it. And later stage, what can I say? So sketching motorcycles, and it's from childhood. Like it's just okay, fine. I made this character. I'll draw a motorcycle for him or something like that. It's always been there. But I didn't know that connect that there you can actually make a living out of sketching motorcycles or designing motorcycles.
Yeah, for that matter, even making a living out of sketching, वो भी concept I think for me it was not there. मतलब for a long time मुझे पता ही नहीं था कि sketching से भी कुछ एक earning जैसा कोई एक income source बन सकता है.
Absolutely.
So actually I belong to a very small place जहाँ पे even though my parents they are teachers, बट मुझे बिल्कुल नहीं पता था कि डिज़ाइन जैसे कोई एक फील्ड एग्जिस्ट करती है. ग्रोइंग अप आई ओनली न्यू आई हैड 2 ऑप्शंस, इंजीनियरिंग एंड मेडिकल. आई डिडंट लाइक बायो, सो इट ऑब्वियसली बिकेम द चॉइस कि मुझे इंजीनियर बनना है. सो आई यूज्ड टू से कि मुझे इंजीनियर बनना है. एंड देन इंजीनियरिंग इज अ प्लेस वेयर you do it to figure out what you want to do in life.
True.
So yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, please continue.
This story is the same for me also. I thought engineering is kind of the way to take me there. I knew that I wanted to do something related to automotive only. So I thought, okay, fine, engineering is the way to go ahead, and I'm the first engineer in my family.
Wow.
So it's like everything is new. Like I took, in fact, I was so new. Like the closest college to me is the college I selected in during my engineering days, because it's just close to my house. So I was that naive.
Okay.
And mechanical engineering just sounds so cool. I can do a lot of mechanical things. I don't know, do something with motorcycle or car, or that's what my thinking was. So
Correct.
mechanical engineering also fit for me that way.
Okay.
So I had selected that, and still there was this awareness about this motorcycle design, transportation design, all that is zero. So I had no clue about any of this.
Okay.
During my second or third year, I think you must have come across this series in Discovery Channel called Overall in
Chimpus.
Yeah, legendary designer and builder.
True.
God. So when I saw that series, particularly some of the shows, it'll just be like 10-15 seconds. It'll just basically, the show is that they will take a car, they will completely rebuild it and give it back to the customers, and he just spends some 10-15 seconds just sketching the idea which they are planning to build. He'll just take a paper, put a pencil to the paper on the spot, and he'll just use sketch pens, which we are calling now as markers, and suddenly the sketch will just come out as a 3D looking thing from the paper. It has so much. The sketch was done so well, I mean, looking at that, I was like really blown away. Like, my God, this is so cool. I want to do this. What is this thing called? Can I go join some, I don't know, some garage or something like that and try to be like that? So that was kind of my thinking. But then engineering went through. I got into my first job is with L&T. They make defense equipments and tire making machineries.
So hardcore mechanical engineering.
But thankfully I was in design. So it's a new product development, and our role and my role in that department was that we will develop new products, and then L&T can kind of make it as a standard business. So our idea is to find these new segments and make products as first trials. So Technology Development Center is the name, and it was headed by Mr. N.K. Harish. He's one of the best bosses I've had. He's very, very supportive, and he's actually from Indian Institute of Science. So that's also one of my drive to join IISC. So during that particular phase only, I started through a random page. I ended up in internet on this page for SEED, Common Entrance Exam for Design. Then it's like basically to join any IIT or IISC design course, you need the seed exam.
Correct.
So from there I started digging deeper seed. Then there are other design colleges, then design courses, transportation design, product design, industrial design, like so many colleges offering how to get into them. So all this research happened, and that's how I got into design education, and then into motorcycle design. So it's a big story.
So
I hope you
wow, that is interesting. Actually, I have listened so many stories of motorcycle and automobile designers. तो उनका ऐसा रहता है कि they know कि थोड़ा बहुत इंटरेस्ट है ऑटोमोबाइल्स में, बट दे आर नॉट श्योर कि व्हाट एग्जैक्टली दे वांट टू डू. तो कई बार ऐसा होता है कि दे एंड अप गेटिंग इनटू ट्रांसपोर्टेशन डिज़ाइन, और उसके बाद में दे फिगर आउट कि फिर क्या करना है एग्जैक्टली, कार्स या मोटरसाइकिल्स या ट्रेन्स. देयर आर सो मेनी थिंग्स, इवन प्लेन इंटीरियर्स, देयर आर डिजाइनर्स नाउ. So many things are happening. So going there you can explore. So that is also one possibility.
Yeah.
But let's talk more about IISC.
Okay.
So IISC Bangalore is one of the most reputed colleges in India, and obviously you'll have to give seed for that matter. I think USEED and seed for graduation it is USEED. तो वो आपको देनी पड़ती है. So tell me, out of all the colleges, like now तो there are even more colleges, number of colleges have gone up like anything. पर उस वक्त भी कुछ colleges जैसे NID हो गया या IITs थे, IISC Bangalore है. तो how did you end up choosing this particular college? What was your reason?
Thankfully, that many options were not there that time, so it was a little easy for me that way to
True.
apply to colleges.
Today it's very confusing.
Plus, my exposure in design itself was very less. So whatever I googled, that is my knowledge. I was working that time, so when I was researching this, I know that my window for application was just hardly 15 or 20 days only.
Oh,
so
really?
when I came to do so, that the small window, I had to make a decision. Okay, let's just apply and see like that.
Oh.
So that time there were four or five IITs which offered design, Indian Institute of Science, and then NID within India.
So you literally had like 15 days to prepare for the exam.
True.
Oh, it was an impromptu thing.
So it was a complete impromptu thing. But I when I went through the websites of each colleges, the courses, when I went through this literature study of what design is, what product design, what industrial design, it felt like it was a natural connect. I didn't have to do a lot of effort to it. It felt like this is the field for me, because I'm already aware of a lot of other things that goes well with the. So for me, it was kind of a natural fit. So then I started. Applied to IISC, I applied to IIT. Actually, I applied to only 3 colleges.
Okay.
IISC, IDC in
Mumbai,
IIT Mumbai, and then NID. So these are the only 3 colleges. This thing, and then thankfully the examination centers were in Chennai. So I just bunked one day in office, went and wrote exams for all those things, and call for came. IDC I couldn't go because that time there was like some sort of presentation or something. But the system, right? Like first you have to write a written exam. Selection list will appear in the individual colleges. They will call you, and again there will be a design studio test and written test in the college. So you have to go to, if it is IISC, you have to go to Bangalore. NID you have to go to Ahmedabad, or IIT Bombay you have to go to Bombay. So I couldn't go to Bombay. IISC had gone and NID had gone. So basically the thing is, I think for IISC they had called for 100 plus people. It was a full day thing. The first step was a written exam. So you have to write in the whatever. So there will be a kind of filtration there. Then the remaining people who are selected, there will be in the second half there will be an interview. So the faculties will. So it's kind of like a proper stress interview sort of a thing. And you go there, and then finally after 2-3 weeks you will get that. Whether you're selected or not.
Actually, even I remember when even I got shortlisted for IDC, NID and IISC, and I remember because that time I was staying in Pune, and IDC Bombay and IISC Bangalore interview studio test dates, they were clashing somehow.
Correct.
So I didn't have time to travel to all the way Bangalore and then. तो इसलिए मुझे IISC skip करना पड़ा था. But yeah, if somebody from the educational institute, if they are listening, this is a real problem. I think you will have to do something about it. Yeah.
True.
Okay.
Even I think the dates in which the results come, they are like so I don't know, it was so far, it was 15 years back.
Correct.
Really not.
Now things have gotten better, I guess.
Yeah. So that's my this thing. Then one day letter comes from IISC saying that you're selected. So that's ended up going there.
Okay. So do you remember any do you have any faint memories of IISC studio test or the interview?
Yeah. Okay.
Any interesting questions?
So I think I'm not sure whether there was a center in this thing Chennai in which I went. I think I'm not really sure. So first is like you have to write the seed exam.
Okay.
So seed exam, you get the question papers online. So you can kind of go through the previous question papers. You get an idea for what sort of aptitude test. There's a little bit of sketching involved, GK and all that thing. So you finish that. Based on that, they'll call you. I think they called 100 or 150 people to IISC Bangalore.
Okay.
So I made up some pretext in office, went there. It was a full day thing, so you have to from morning till evening, provided you select for different stages. The first stage is it's a written test, and they will test your aptitude, your sketching skills and all that thing. So then there will be a filtering of that, and in the second round, which is the interview round, which is more the more exciting one, I feel, so because there will be 4-5 faculty, and I think they will pass judgment on you just by looks and your answers. Like, did I say something really wrong? Oh man, I shot my chances and things like that. It was interesting to mingle with the people who had come there, the students who had come there.
Correct.
Particularly architects, they already go this 5-year grind and they have a lot of content.
Man.
And
To compete
I got
with them,
really
it's very
intimidated
scary,
by looking
actually.
at architects because they already have so much relevant
Oh, I
content.
still remember like when I was standing there for my interview and all, some architect students were having like this big box of portfolio and all, mock-ups and things like that. And I literally had like this small booklet of scanned and printed, like very badly scanned and badly edited portfolio.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is very scary.
Same is the case with me. I had a lot of sketches and loose sketches and
Right.
my CV and like all this. So very ill-prepared thing. And what can I say? I think whatever I said or whatever answers I gave maybe struck a chord. There were some creative questions. Like I think one question, if I remember, I think one of the faculty asked, everyday objects they'll just take and tell you, like, can you say some 5 different uses for this object other than what it is?
Okay.
Like if it is a pen, how will you use this apart from it being a pen, apart from it being used for writing or something like that? So they'll just instant check how creative you are or something like that.
Correct. Okay.
And something to do with your projects and something to do, most of it will come from what your interests are. They will ask you what your interest is and they will question you from that. So be sure to say what your interests are properly.
Yeah. I think I'll just add one thing to it. Actually, selection process थोड़ा सा vague रहता है हमेशा, but what I understood over the time is that they are looking for people with very strong and unique personalities. So I would say you don't have to follow someone, but अगर आप में कोई एक ऐसा मतलब कुछ भी यूनिकनेस होगा, let's say for Arun, he was in L&T and then he was passionate about motorcycles. I was into sculpting. I had some background with sculpting and competitions and all that. So maybe that makes you unique and that makes you stand out in the crowd. So वो जो भी है वो आपको uniqueness,
highlight your strengths,
highlight your uniqueness. That's what I think you should do. Okay, now
there was this one funny incident. One of my friend, what he did was very thoughtful of him. So what he did was during the interview, obviously we all would have gone with one portfolio. We would have given one portfolio.
Correct.
It's like this guy had printed 5-6 portfolios. So when he went, like he gave and made sure that I printed everyone one copy so that all of you are taken care of. So he knew that more than one person will be there in that interview room.
Wow.
So he gave everyone
Very thoughtful.
very thoughtful hai yaar, and he got selected also.
Very nice. Okay. So we talked about why and how you entered IISC. So tell me a few memories of IISC. How was the campus? I have heard it's a beautiful campus.
So, like I said, there were only 3 options which I had applied. There was IDC, which I didn't go.
Correct.
IISC, which result came first, and NID, which results came a little later. But I was still I still remember. Like IISC anyway has from childhood there is a sort of a what do you say, like India's best institute, science and technology, pinnacle of all that thing.
Correct.
Still, I think it features in India's #1 university again and again. But it's not really. It's a higher education center. So there are mostly now there is undergrad courses, But when I studied, there was only postgrad and PhD and things like that.
Okay.
So there's a lot of brownie points if you're studying in IISC, particularly with my father. He's a teacher.
Correct,
It's like so cool for him. Like whenever he's like introducing me to someone, that he make sure that he says he studied in IISC and things like that.
Actually, elderly generation, matlab, because I come from NID, my parents, I know, they will take more pride in telling people that he is studying in IDC or IIT or IISC than saying कि NID में पढ़ रहा है, क्योंकि लोगों को तो पता ही नहीं होता है. NID बोलने के बाद they related to NIT and all.
True.
Yeah, so I can completely understand.
Same. So the brag value is very high from early on. So
That's
but
a nice
when I actually went there for interview, what hit me strong was like it's a very greeny and wooded place, okay, right in the middle of Bangalore.
Correct.
I mean it's beautiful place, such a big place, and number of people are very less, number of students are very less, so it's sparsely populated. Very beautiful campus. So that hit me like a tsunami. Like actually I made my decision that time itself. If I get a chance to study here, I'll study here. It was. And awesome. Particularly the department, the design department is very, very pretty. It's a very old architecture. It's a lot of history. Like I mean, there's a kind of this thing that the lab in which we used to work, that is actually Sir C.V. Raman's lab. He used to do his experiments there or something. I don't know whether it's actually a myth. Maybe somebody can bust this myth from CPD. But then there are a lot of stories. 100 years of it's a 100-year-old college. In fact, I am the centenary batch, the 100th batch of IISC. So
wow. Okay.
So it's a very pretty place. So that is also one kind of buying in for me for IISC, I feel. And it's a very, very cool place, Bangalore. Like what more can I say?
That's true.
And so then when I entered the department, when I talked to faculty, and there were a lot of my seniors there who have become lifelong friends, when I talked to them, and it became clear, like, okay, I mean, this is a place for me. That's how I ended up in IISC.
Fine. So now you got your degree in design, and I'm pretty sure you would have developed your projects around motorcycles or two-wheelers or three-wheelers, I don't know. So how did that happen, all of your projects, and then how did that help you in getting into motorcycle design industry as such?
Like you said, product design is like a very a big field. Out of the transportation design is just one hemisphere. Out of that, motorcycle design is the smallest organism.
Correct.
So in a sense, I think motorcycle designers are this rare species, like red-colored unicorn or something like that.
Small
we are very elusive creatures. To start with, so I was very clear I wanted to do something in automotive, particularly two-wheelers. Motorcycles is my thing to go.
Okay.
So during my college days also, I was looking for projects or things like that which can relate to motorcycles. In my final year project, I wanted to do a motorcycle project, but it ended up being a three-wheeler project because that's a project that was available. And, there was like, I always had this kida for motorcycles. If you see my college time, during my desk, a lot of sketches of motorcycles will be there.
Oh wow!
And I'm just unknowingly developing a lot of affinity for motorcycles, trying to like break into that industry. And one of the first placement companies that came was TVS.
Okay.
So
that's also in Bangalore, right?
Yeah, that's also it's in Hosur, but it's close. Bangalore and Tamil Nadu. Bangalore is in the border of Karnataka, very close to Tamil Nadu. Hosur, where the TVS plant is actually, so I used to stay in Bangalore and travel to this thing because I didn't want to change my SIM card and all that thing that time. Now you can stay anywhere with the same number. Anyway, so my ex-boss from TVS that time, Mr. Elias Abraham, he had come for the interview and we had a very good session, and he saw something in me that he felt like, okay, fine, we'll give him a chance and see. So that's how I ended up I was really happy when I got into TVS as a motorcycle designer. And then a decade of design there.
In TVS, right?
Flew by, So projects and, Auto Expos and things like that just went by. Now with Bajaj, and it's been quite a ride now. Great.
Okay, we'll go into that in a moment. But let's talk about motorcycle design as career a little more. So now you have spent so much time in the industry, almost I think 15 years.
Yeah, somewhere there.
Somewhere there, right? So what is this field exactly, and why do you recommend this field to aspiring students?
Okay, so
Your opinion.
disclaimers. Okay, so I wouldn't recommend this to everyone. I would just recommend it to people who are really, really passionate and patient. For I think this is a field, particularly design. I would say, particularly transportation design, be it cars or designing motorcycles or
Correct.
anything. The life cycle from a sketch to the point where it comes into the showroom, it's long, like it's
For
anywhere
sure.
from 2.5 years to sometimes 8
Especially
years, 9 years.
especially now if you compare with all the digital products like
True.
web design, app designing, all that,
True.
their life cycle is so small. Compared to that, now this automobile industry works in a very different fashion.
Yeah, it's like you will get prehistoric working in just one project sometimes. So
true,
you
yeah.
should have the patience to see it through. And for every design that for every one of my motorcycles in the showroom that has actually come, literally 50 or 60 or 100 concept sketches, designs which are just not seen
I'm
by
sure,
anybody.
yeah.
So there are so many projects we do which never see the light of day, right? So it really it's a field which tests your patience. So I feel it's a field for people who are really patient
And really passionate about
really
this field.
passionate about motorcycles,
That's true.
because that is the only drive that will keep you going.
Correct.
The same is the case for car design as well as motorcycle design. But then any field I feel is like that. If you're like going in for the glamour or things like that and looking at if you just follow your passion, I think you'll be fine.
Correct.
It doesn't matter
Yeah.
which field is it. So,
Yeah.
but the rewards also are very high. After so much time, when your product actually comes to the market,
It's an emotional moment.
It's absolutely an emotional moment, and I think it makes everything worth it.
Correct. Yeah.
So for students, I think if you're really passionate about motorcycles and have a lot of patience, I think this is the field for you.
And it's not like that we'll be poor and all. It will pay you, but it will be less comparatively. So that is the thing. Okay, so because we are talking about motorcycle design and all that, do you have any recommendation of books or some tips about sketching?
Interesting. Actually, there is very little, formal articles or education. There is literally no
That's true.
motorcycle design
Yeah.
course available, a
For
degree
sure.
available, right?
Yeah.
So you'll get these random crash courses, workshops, or just some hints of books which have motorcycle design, but there's literally no degree or something that you can. So maybe people who are watching, that's like a course somebody can offer. And so everything is like you'll get a lot of details, particularly I think more or less I think you'll get more information when you see how motorcycles are built by companies. So their stories and their design processes, and I think you'll kind of build more knowledge and skill looking at those things.
Right.
And books per se, nothing is if you can spend some time in garage building bikes and in OEMs when you are making motorcycles, nothing is more enlightening than that. But then unlike cars, what I've seen is that car design is a little bit more
Established, probably.
Entire thing is covered. So it's somewhat
yeah,
like
it's-
scooters, I would say.
Correct.
You kind of the entire skin covers the mechanicals of it. In motorcycles,
more like a
it's
sculpture.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. In motorcycles, it's a little bit more tricky. The mechanicals are the beauty of the vehicle.
Correct, yeah,
So
yeah.
you cannot escape the aspect of not knowing what those mechanicals are. So you have
That's a
to
very
know-
interesting point actually. This makes car design very different from motorcycle design, because car design you are basically, especially if you are doing exterior, you are sculpting the overall volume. But when you are designing a motorcycle, you are basically complementing the mechanical beauty beneath.
True.
So you are basically covering only the required parts, and then you are creating this overall package, which is which is a beautiful combination of mechanical stuff and with minimal surfaces. I think that's what is a unique thing about motorcycle
you
design.
cannot ignore mechanical.
Correct.
That's where our, I think, background of mechanical engineering kind of helps there. Regarding your question on what type of books you can refer and other things, since you will not find anything, let's say, motorcycle design or motorcycle or sketching directly. So unlike car design or something like that, you can follow how big companies publish their design stories as books, as well as in YouTube and other things you'll get. So what are the processes they followed? Like, for example, BMW or Ducati or Honda, say they published a lot of articles and books. So those are very interesting to read. So I bought some 999 development, 1098 development, my very own bike. So when you see pictures of the development, their mock-ups, their sketches, they're quite interesting to look at. So I would suggest, if you're looking to improve your sketching skills or things like that, I think I generally suggest this very good book by Eric and Clara. Design sketching.
Design sketching, yes.
Faculty.
Correct.
So that's a very good book as a starters thing for a design hobby. I think that's a very good place to start. And I think the rest will be your style of developing your own sketch skills.
I think that book is very beautiful. Yes. Even I referred that book. It starts with the very fundamental points about sketching, and then slowly it goes into marker rendering and then how to develop your style and things like that. So it's a beautiful book, I think. And also there is one book which we were talking in the first episode, How to Draw by Scott Robertson.
True.
So that is also a very nice book. I think these two books are enough, I guess, more than enough to develop your sketching skills. And what you were saying about the design processes, I think people can also check out these websites like MCN or Cycle World. They on and off, they keep sharing the design stories of popular motorcycles. I think that is also one really informative platform which you can explore. On your professional pivotal moments in your career, you obviously have few moments which becomes like the highlight in your career, creates your identity in a way. So let's talk more about your professional journey. You started your career from TVS, then you must have developed so many motorcycles over there. Then I remember meeting you at Auto Expo in 2016.
True.
Where Arun's concept Akula was launched. So take us through all that professional design journey of yours.
I think that way, I think even I work with Bajaj now, but still people hark on that RR310 and the Akula days even now. And most of the questions that come, if at all,
for sure, because
for that matter,
maybe after a few years, we'll also talk about your Bajaj stuff.
There's some interesting stuff there,
For sure,
True. To start with motorcycles, I think a couple of projects I've done with Bajaj are the current generation, the upgrade for the Dominar 400. TVS had worked on projects like the Victor, the Apache platforms. Then there was this vehicle for 125cc called Phoenix, and then of course the RR310. And Auto Expos were like really fun.
Right.
Those are the Draken concept as well as the Akula concept. Those are like really fun things, because I think there's something magical when you show these vehicles in Auto Expo and you get immediate feedback from people. So it's like a quick market research.
Correct.
And when you put so much effort and you get such positive results, they are quite nice to.
I think that's a very celebrity moment for every designer. If your product is getting highlighted over there, because there is press involved, there are so many journalists, there is an actual audience who are going to use your bikes and all that. So I think that's a very interactive, very it's a celebrative ambience, I would say.
True.
So tell us more about that.
Design community is so small, everybody knows everyone, right?
That is there actually. So at least by names, everybody will be knowing everyone.
Absolutely. So this, I think the first concept that we actually showed was for RTR was this Draken concept. So it was done by 2-3 designers coming together. So my effort in that was mostly on the headlamp, the wheels, the mechanical components of it, frame and things like that. So I think there the idea was to like show something really radical what the RTR platform can be. So that was like still feasible or something like that.
Correct.
So that became like a prelude to the current generation 4-wall RTRs or something like that. And then with the RR310, it's like a kind of sports bike or a full-fledged bike of TVS, even though TVS racing has been there for long. So the hype is real, right?
Right.
And plus with that added BMW collaboration with TVS and all that thing. So the expectation for that particular concept was really, really, really high across the company as well as actually during Expo. And it was more or less a free market research for us also. Before showing the RR310, the Akula concept is literally the RR310 only, just like the we made it a single seater and more track focused sort of a version.
Correct.
And it was really, really liked, and that gave a kind of boost to the entire company.
Most exciting part about this Akula concept was that it was showcased as a complete design project. So what happens when you see a product on roads, you won't know what happened exactly, like where the inspiration came from, what all went into it. But with Akula, it was like a complete design story. It showed TVS racing heritage to back it up. Then it's a track bike, some aggressive inspiration was required. I remember Shark was the inspiration. So there were some clear points where you can see that those things have been taken care from Shark, like those fins and all that. So those things, and then how did you arrive at a very feasible, very nice looking, exciting, something which is promising the future, that kind of a concept, and then it eventually got converted into a production road version.
True.
And that story is very exciting, I say, and that is something which you won't see it that often in this design, especially in Indian scenario. So I think kudos to you and the entire TVS team.
True, what you said is true. I think the very first sketch of RR310 had this tag of Akula in it. So I'm so happy that story which of a predator, of a evolutionary perfection kind of stuck well with the decision makers there in TVS. So they kind of saw that synergy with that actual product, the concept. So generally when we make a sketch or a concept, there is a inspiration behind that. True. So in case of RR310, the inspiration is the Shark. So that was the idea. So the first pages had a lot of mood boards about Shark, how it's kind of like if you look at the Shark, it's kind of very sharp as a profile. But when you look at the surfaces, all the muscles are very smooth, very streamlined. So that kind of synergy, across the development of it, we kind of stuck to it. We made sure that sort of a feel translates to the final product. And it was a lot of fun to work on the project. It's a more than 4 years of development, right? From the first sketch to the final, the vehicle when it hit the market. So it's a long time in coming. Right. And in between happened the Akula concept in the Auto Expo. And that was like a instant market research sort of a thing. So everybody got the confidence once the feedback was very positive in Auto Expo. And fine, the marketing people, everybody was like, yes, full hog, we can go into it and things like that. And there was a lot of aspects to that particular bike, so which was very new to me and it was a big learning. Aerodynamics, like tooling and surface finishes, materials, the sculptural value of it. There were so many aspects of it, a lot of things, everything coming together. It was like a maze of activities coming together. There were a lot of talented people who were involved in it, designers and digital sculptors, then clay sculptors, the engineers and the management. It was somehow everything came together properly.
Wow.
The package and the design and everything. So it was quite a good project. Yeah.
What you are saying, when the excitement level or the passion of every team member of every different department aligned together, that's when a successful
magic
project
happens.
Magic happens. And I think Akula or Apache 310, it's like that product which justifies it, I guess.
True. Thanks. Huh?
Okay, so it will be fair to say that launch of Akula was like a pivotal moment in your career.
Absolutely, yeah, I would also say so.
So how did you deal with that? How did it feel that fine, you are working relentlessly to develop a product, to design a product in a studio, but ये होता है ना कई बार कि आप तो स्टूडियो में बैठे हो, आप 4 लोगों से डिजाइन मतलब डिस्कस कर रहे हो, उनके साथ मिलके डिजाइन कर रहे हो, बट योर वर्ल्ड इज लिमिटेड टू दैट, राइट? बट जब एक ऐसे ग्लोबल या पब्लिक प्लेटफॉर्म पे प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च होता है, प्रोडक्ट शोकेस होता है, देन यू स्टार्ट गेटिंग लाइक द जेन्युइन फीडबैक. तो वो रिस्पॉन्स कैसा था?
It was actually 4+ years of work, right? So many people people, so many efforts,
Sure.
so much time spent in it. So it was like a lot of effort, and finally when it actually made it out as a vehicle, right, it's celebration moment. So it's like more than the aspect of, you know, the recognition, all that thing, it's finally seeing your product in the market. Like I said, for it's a strong moment. It was a fun moment, and everybody involved in it had a lot of fun that particular day. I still remember the launch day, the day before the launch to this thing, there was the press launch.
Okay.
Press launch happened in MMRC, Madras Motor Racing track.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So there, all the press was invited, and these special vehicles, RR310s, were ready for them to ride it and test it. So I presented the design story to them, and
Nice.
you know.
Oh, you yourself presented that.
So what is the idea behind this
Wow.
vehicle? So it was a nice thing, and towards the end of it, once everybody is ridden it, they're sharing a lot of these positive comments and all that thing. Towards the end of it, when I mean, that's the first time I rode the bike in all its fullness. I had ridden the bike before as a test mule, as a prototype, and all that thing. Always with parts missing, and it's just test mules there. That's the first time I actually rode a fully put together vehicle, proper colors, graphics, everything, and riding it around the track that day was like quite a moment. That was like very, that I think that's like one of those things you'll get in your career, you know, which will like, wow, I mean, we did it.
Correct.
It was such a well put together bike. I had really good fun that day. Yeah,
Oh,
fond
nice.
memories.
So now that we are talking about your professional journey, design journey, and things like that,
Yeah.
you have this habit of taking signatures of the legends, whomever you can, the people who you look up to, on some sketches and all that. So tell us more about it. I think it's very interesting.
There are legends in the motorcycle design community, you know that. I mean, our own boss, Mr. Genandro Fabro, like creator of the Panigale and things like that. So I mean, it was so surprising when just a month or so after me joining Bajaj, I come to know that Genandro Fabro is joining Bajaj, and such a quite a surprise that was. And like that his boss, Mr. Pierre Blanche, he's another legend, and I was happy to rub shoulders with him. I know him personally, and he helped me get a signature from Adrian Morton, who is his friend. And I asked him, like, can you get? So he sent. So I'd sent a picture of a MV Agusta F3, and I'd asked Mr. Turblanche, can you get me a signature of Adrian also? And he sent it to him, and the reply from Adrian was like that. Listen to whatever Pierre Turblanche says, because he was my boss or something like that. So yeah, and it's. I mean, these guys are legends, no? And in this community, kind of meeting your heroes is quite some interesting thing.
Okay, so actually, if you would have missed these names, Gianandrea Fabro, he had worked in Ducati for a very long time. He has his very interesting approach towards design. Then Pierre Tablanche, I think for 17-18 years he was in Ducati. He has worked on some of the most iconic bikes. Then Adrian Morton, he was there in MV Agusta for a very long time. So these guys are some of the legends who have kind of, you know, paved the path into this global motorcycle design industry. So I think you should go and, you know, dig in some more information about these guys. It will be really enlightening.
The BMW, this thing with TVS, I happened to meet Mr. Edgar. And, he's also a very chilled out guy, but phenomenal talent there. And
let's come to you as a person. Like, we talked about so many things. Now let's talk about Mr. Arunkumar Francis. Okay. So let's talk more about your passion about motorcycle riding in general.
Okay.
What do you enjoy the most about it?
I mean, I like fast bikes, and sports bikes are my cup of tea, I'd say.
Yeah.
And I think I'm kind of like tuned to that sort of vehicles. So my interest in motorcycles are performance.
Okay.
So any motorcycle which can give performance, like, and the things that I look up to are like race bikes and things like that. So that's why my interest is. So that's the sort of bikes which kind of excite me.
Okay. So which are your favorite bikes? Like, all time favorite?
Oh, there are so many. There's like, this is a very tough question.
I see you have got this very small, pretty scale model.
So yeah, I have a 848 that's also designed by our boss, Mr. Genandro Fabro. I really love that bike. It's pretty from all angles, and it's quite a performer, very good handling bike. Then there are so many. I mean, it's like so many generations of bikes, and so how can you pinpoint it?
Yeah.
But if I have to say my style of bikes that I like, it is things which are visceral and raw and performance oriented. Like for example, NR Sound 50 or a NC30 or a Desmo CDC or things like this, which have some sort of a really they are real race bikes.
Correct.
Then the styling is just there to kind of bring it all together. That's the sort of bikes. Like for example, the Bimota Tessie. I mean, quirky looking but really, really raw, and that's like the sort of bike.
Pure function performance.
Yeah. Styling is just there to add some drama to it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's the sort of bikes I like.
Wow, awesome. So, last few things, like you have stayed in Chennai, you have stayed in Pune now, Bangalore, and you must have rode in different terrains. So which is like your favorite terrain to ride?
So since I'm a sport bike rider, I think for me, Bangalore and Chennai, that sort of roads are like perfect. They're like butter smooth. You go to any rural places, the roads are proper and this thing like that.
Some of the routes are very scenic. ECR and all, that East Coast Road. Oh.
Yes, I mean, I think sport bike sort of a scenario there. In Maharashtra, after coming here, I think some sort of adventure bike is more preferable here. So
because of the roads,
yes, very scenic in those monsoon times. That kind of green that we get here, my God, it's just so pretty. 30-40 kilometers outside the city, you have everything is kind of like
Pune
fresh.
is that hidden gem, okay?
Yeah.
When you visit it, you'll find it, this is like a regular city, but when you explore these small hidden gems, like especially during monsoons, there are so many places nearby, even I have to explore, but
my favorite place in monsoon is this place in Veranda Ghat. My God, it looks like a table on top of heaven, and it's just scenic. So that's my favorite, spot around Pune, I would say.
Okay. Now, coming to one of the last questions, you have worked on several projects. So how do you keep motivated yourself, like to work with that same passion or same zeal?
I think the answer is easy. They're paying us for sketching motorcycles. Like, what more can be a better job?
That's the best part about creative jobs, no?
Absolutely. So it's just that I come in, I just sketch and build bikes, and we talk about motorcycles. We live and breathe design, and we get paid for it. So
I have heard this from many people that if you remove this job part, even if we don't have this job, I think even in our free time, we'll be doing the same thing. So this is just that we are doing what we love, and then we are getting paid.
Exactly.
So that's like a wonderful scenario. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So on that note, we'll come to the final thing that there are so many things, like there will be students, there will be people from this design industry, there will be people who are aspiring designers. So if you have to give some, word of wisdom to finish this podcast, what will be that?
Without sounding too preachy, I think if you like something, just do it, and skill will develop when you put more effort into it, time into it. So you will become a skillful person in whichever area that you're putting time in. So I think passion will get you there, and your effort will get you there, whichever it is. So that's
awesome. Okay, so Arun, thank you very much for taking out time for this podcast. And there was some glitch in the first podcast, so we are shooting it second time. So this has taken a lot of efforts. Thanks to Arun also, he agreed to shoot it again. So if you are liking this mission, if you like the kind of work we are doing to spread design awareness and promote designers in every possible way, so please support us by
like, subscribe, and click that bell icon.
Especially because my YouTube statistic, it says that 85% of the viewers, they are not subscribers. So please subscribe more and more. Take that extra step to subscribe, so that it will help YouTube algorithm. It will reach to many people, and it will help us spread design awareness.
1 million likes.
1 million likes. That's